Today we're going to do a kind of a different video, a little bit longer. I have about 130, a little over 130 Folio Society books, and I just decided to do a list of the top 5 prettiest ones that I've got. This is necessarily subjective, and to tell you the truth, I'm not even sure that I agree with myself on some of these. I've gone back and forth, but I didn't want to waffle too much, so I picked 5. If these 5 aren't my 5 prettiest, they're very close. So without further ado, let me just say also, actually there is further ado. These aren't necessarily the books I've enjoyed the most. They aren't necessarily the books with that are the most fascinating or wonderful to read, but the way that they feel in my hand, the way that they look to the eye, the way that the thoughtfulness has gone into them, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. So, number 5 on the top prettiest Folio Society books I own. This is The Art of War. So, it's bound in what they call art silk or something like that, which means that it's not actual silk, but it feels silky. These characters are cut out of the silk and then have this gold color to them. Or maybe they're placed on the silk. It's kind of hard to tell. No, they're cut out of the silk. Then it's quarter bound in this probably sort of buckram with the gold lettering here. And then the silk on the other side as well. Part of the reason this book always makes the cut when I pull out Folio Society books is because of the dimensions. It's so long, and it's just obvious as you hold it in your hand. It's just obvious that it's meant to be like a scroll, like an old Chinese scroll. It's got the gold end papers here. And it's just nice and simple. The pages are thick. And each chapter, I was going to show you a little bit of an illustration there. This is the analysis. In any case, each chapter begins with some characters. And there's plenty of space around the sides. They're not stingy with the space. And then we've got the illustrations, rather the images inside. It's a beautiful book. It's really, as I say, just thoughtfully done and just very clever with the way that, with the dimensions. That's number 5. Number 4, Beowulf. This one feels really good as well. The cloth has a sort of a rough, I know I've just said it feels good and then said it's rough, but I like it. It's just, you really know that you're holding it. And the designs here are cut into it as well. It's all very tactile. Quarter bound in leather, nice soft leather, feels good. The slipcover itself also has a design cut into it. And then throughout the book, it has these illustrations on every page. And then every once in a while, a massive illustration. The design is such that the Old English is on one side, the Modern English is on the other side, with matching numbers so that you can keep in place. It's big, it's oversized, the pages are practically cardstock thick. And it's just really a lovely book. That's 4. Peter Pan in Kensington Gardens. It's got its slipcover, of course. The illustrations are what do it here. And mind you, this is a massive book. The size, it's a very big book. And the pages are incredibly thick. And there's just so much space. They made a really big book, but then used up only part of it. And there's lots of space along the sides. There are lots of little illustrations throughout, as there should be for a children's book. But along with those kinds of things, we have the dipped, just really beautiful illustrations. Sorry, the hand tipped. I meant to say tipped, not dipped. It just occurred to me that I said dipped. Anyway, these are printed on especially proper pages for illustrations. So these pages are great. They're thick. They feel like they've got something to them, but they're better for line drawings, black and white, than they are for something like this. These illustrations, just beautiful to me. And there are several of them. So that's 3. Number 2, in my mind, most beautiful book in my collection of Folio Society is The Wind in the Willows. It's more of a regular sized book. It comes with a slipcover that has illustrations on it. This cover here in the gold, and it's got this set in almost like a photo, but you can feel it. You can feel where it's pasted in like it's a photo album or something. My edition has faded along the sides here. I mean, rather along the spine, but that's all right. Why does this one get number 2? It's because it's just absolutely packed with little illustrations, just packed. Every few pages, there's something, whether a black and white or a color. And I love the illustrations. We also got these end papers here. Even the black and white ones are very evocative. And then the color ones, I just love them. I just love them. That's Toad in disguise. As well, you may be able to see the paper itself has texture to it. And I like that texture, and the pages are thick. And it just feels luxurious. It just feels good. And every few pages there's another just really wonderful little illustration. And as with Peter Pan, this is sort of more or less a children's book, but the truth is that the language and vocabulary is not really something that really small children are going to appreciate. My daughter read it when she was very, very young, but I think that she didn't understand a lot of what she was reading, but she loved the feeling of it. All right, that's number 2. Now, for what I consider the number 1 most beautiful Folio Society book that I've got, Moby Dick. So this edition is what they call a limited edition. It comes in a box. Inside the box also comes with another commentary, but I'm not here to sell the set here. I'm just telling you about the book itself. I have to admit, when I pull this book out, it's not just the way that it looks and the way that it feels, but it smells good. It's this leather that, I don't know, it smells very leathery, but it feels very soft. It's a very nice soft leather that just feels good. It's got this silver lettering. Simple on the back. The top also has the silver. And unusual for Folio Society books, it's got a bookmark, a ribbon. The pages are reasonably thick. They're not like the other books that I've been talking about today. There's a good amount of space between the lines and space on the sides. But what really does it for this book, besides what I've already talked about, is the many, many, many illustrations. This is a very big book, 700 pages or so, maybe more, and it is absolutely packed with illustrations, just as I flip through over and over and over again. It's just so nice. It's really nice. And I like the illustrations, so I suppose if they were terrible, then it wouldn't matter if there were a lot of them. But I think they're great, and I think they really fit with the text. I'm going to pretend that those are harpoons. I think they're harpoon-like. Just look at that, just the bit of light, how just a bit of light can imply what the artist is going for. It's mostly dark. So many illustrations. And the feel of it and the smell of it, which I can't get across to you the feel of it, and I can't get across to you the smell of it. Just this bit of light in the dark. And for those reasons, Moby Dick clocks in as my #1 prettiest, if we include tactile, if we include feel and smell and everything else, Folio Society book. I also happen to really like the book Moby Dick. However, that is not what we're doing here today. All right, a bit longer than usual. Hope you got something out of it. You know what? Let's put them all here together. We're going to have to get a bigger view here. There we go, something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Could have planned this out better, couldn't I? All right. What I think of as the 5 prettiest books in my Folio Society collection.